Hi, welcome to Noise Violation Podcast. Today I have a long friend, special guest, Bryan Adamcik.
What up, what up?
Man of many talents. He's a DJ, producer, worked in the energy field, and now has moved on to electric vehicles.
That's right.
So usually I like to get like a background. I pretty much know your background, but for the people who don't know, kind of give us a little backstory about like who you are, how you got into music, how you got into electric vehicles, the energy space, kind of what led you to where you are now.
Absolutely. I enjoyed hearing what you had to say about me, by the way. Can I drink on the show? Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Is that alcohol?
I didn't know if this was like the Joe Rogan podcast where like whiskey and blunts came out, or is that allowed now? Are there any rules?
There's no rules.
Can I say bad words?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Will you beep it out?
No.
All right. I'll try not to. All right, so moving on. So I started off in oil and gas. I went to Texas A&M. I did oil and gas for about 3.5 years, and at the same time I was producing and DJing electronic music. And I'd say I got to a point in my life where I felt like I'd played it safe. You know, I went to school, I did the right thing, I paid off my loans, I did all that. I was like, it's time to risk it. So I basically quit my job, broke up with the girl I was dating, and I moved to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a music school there called Icon Collective for a year. And it was 9 months. I was supposed to stay there. And then I ended up living in LA for 4.5 years. So after the music school, I still worked in oil and gas. I signed on to Schlumberger. I was at GE originally. And then from Schlumberger, I got offered a job in electric vehicle power charging technology with a company called Tritium. Yeah. And now I went to Los Angeles for music, right? And what's crazy is I ended up finding a better job in the corporate world with an engineering degree when I wasn't even searching for it. So it was crazy because now my whole purpose in life is I want to push forward the electrification of vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose of that is because I want to reduce the number of diesels basically in the air. So the concept behind it all is more low-income people live closer to big main highways statistically, and then statistically, people that live close to big highways are more sick from breathing all that stuff in. So they're in a vicious cycle because when they breathe all that stuff in, they have to go restore their health, and medical bills is the number one reason for bankruptcy in the nation. Uh-huh. So they have to go restore their health, they go bankrupt, and then they have to go live next to the highway again. So I feel like with every car that I charge, or we charge at Tritium, the further we're pushing technology forward in the electrification of vehicles.
Yeah, so there's a lot of directions to take this interview, but since we're talking about electric vehicles right now, and you've kind of had a perspective of natural gas too, working
liquid natural gas, I did that as well
from there, so you kind of have a well-rounded perspective about the different types of fuel sources that can be used. Do you think electricity is going to be the new standard for vehicles?
Absolutely. I think Tesla's already proven that. I think it took a long time for everyone to finally adapt, but it is well known that the electrification of vehicles is pushed forward, and we are right at the beginning of it now. It is. Mm-hmm. I trade stocks pretty heavy now, and every day there's a new EV company out, and it's just blowing up, and it's just, the grid is just endless, it's just, there's endless possibilities. I mean, it's crazy to just everywhere in the world, we're driving different distances, which is going to require a different type of battery, right? So it's like, if you look at like Teslas in China, like they use a different type of battery because they drive shorter, ranges, because everything's so close together, while here in the US, everything's really far apart. So
Right.
we want a battery with a long range and a lot of miles versus a battery that needs to be charged constantly, and we need a long battery life like in China. So it's just like, it's an application that is infinite and will fit everywhere. But yes, I believe in electric vehicle. I kind of believe in hydrogen technology, not really very much, but
Mm-hmm.
supposedly big trucks and stuff will adopt that more. I know China's real big on it, but I just don't see us installing that infrastructure all over the U.S. like we are electric vehicles.
Yeah. So the infrastructure is. Do you think it's the batteries need to get better and longer range, or we need to develop more infrastructure to support more charging stations? So I think that's one of the more biggest hurdles to electric vehicles is right now, if everyone bought an electric vehicle, there's not enough chargers to support all those vehicles.
Absolutely. So all the above, you know. So Tesla's battery days on the 22nd. You'll hear me talk about Tesla nonstop because I love Tesla. So, I'm a big Elon Musk fan, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You know, there's not near enough chargers, and you know, it's a range issue as well. That's the reason people aren't adopting it. It'll go big once we can make it as fast as filling up as gasoline. You know, you go to a gas pump, it takes you 5 to 10 minutes to fill it up. Once it gets to that point where it's not an inconvenience to find a charger and then sit there and wait for it to charge, then it'll definitely, you know, internal combustion engines will be extinct.
Yeah. Is that your goals at Tritium, is to produce the fastest charger?
Correct, but we are only as fast as the battery technology.
How much the battery can accept?
Yeah, so when you charge a car, basically the battery and the charger are talking back and forth. So the battery's saying, hey, I can take this much, you know, power coming through, and then the charger's sending it, or they're saying, stop, that's too much, right? So right now, like a 50 kilowatt, you know, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. So you see those outside of like malls, right? Because it's not inconvenient for you to go in or go to dinner and charge your car, right? And that's a power charger. So we do fast charging DC chargers, but we also have a 175 that's been released in Europe, but it'll be out here in the US soon. And then we also have a 350 kilowatt, but there's only one car like in the world right now that can handle that.
Yeah.
So the all electric Porsche is the only one that can handle 350 kilowatts, which is fast. It can charge a car in 15 minutes. And once we get to that level, I think it'll completely adopt, but you know, I don't know how long that's going to take, because it's you know, they're going to taper their way up. They're not going to be like, all right, here's the best thing ever, let's pull it out. It's going to be a slow build up, you know, as we adopt electric vehicles and stuff.
But I guess the big thing is electric chargers or electric cars, you have to produce the batteries. Eventually those batteries go bad. Is that producing more waste than if you would just put carbon in the air?
I'm not a battery expert, but I will say it's endless applications. So the big question is, who's going to fix the grid, right? Because when we're power and stuff, everyone's drawn off this same grid in your area, right? And it's eventually everything's going to be working back and forth, communicating. So in areas where they need more power, your car will be sitting in your garage, and when the grids, you know, they need more power, your car will start charging the grid. And then when it's right for the car to be charged and it's cheaper at those times, then your car will recharge itself, and your house will be doing it with solar panels and chargers, and everything's going to be working together. But when it comes to recycling of batteries, there's companies that buy warehouses and just fill them with batteries right now. And then you just hold those batteries charged, and then when electricity is at its peak during the day and it's at the highest amount, they just drain them all into the grid in power places. And then when electricity is cheap, they charge them back up, right? So the answer to that is I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I'm not big on the batteries yet, but
that's one of my fears is like, you're going to make all these batteries and then they're eventually going to go bad. And then I know you can recycle batteries, but I don't know what that process is.
You're thinking of lithium ion in particular, though, I'm sure, right? You know, it's like it's a great question, and I'm curious what, you know, there's a lot of different batteries. So VW is going more towards a solid state battery, and then Tesla, I'm thinking they're going to do more of the nickel route. I think nickel's going to be the bottleneck. Cobalt used to be a big bottleneck, but now I think nickel is going to be the big thing they want to mine, because basically it's more efficient, can hold charge longer. But I'm curious what they're about to announce, because Elon Musk is super tactical, and they've delayed battery day like 2 or 3 times now. And he's saying your mind will be blown. He doesn't say your mind's going to be blown unless it's something crazy. So I'm curious, and I have a feeling they have a bunch of partners, but I have a feeling they're going to be producing all the batteries too. So
yeah, well, I heard the rumor is they're going to announce the 1,000,000-mile battery. So the battery is going to last 1,000,000 miles, which exceeds the life of the car. The car is not going to last 1,000,000 miles. So you may get like this skid plate where you can just like replace the cover of the car or something, and like keep your battery, or the something like your battery is going to be more valuable probably than your car.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to electric vehicles, you got to understand that it doesn't have all the maintenance that an internal combustion engine does, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to get, a bunch of oil changes and all that stuff done, because the biggest cost is the battery. It's the most expensive part of the entire car, and it's the heaviest. But if you look at companies like NIO, which is a competitor out in Asia, their model is, instead of charging the car's battery, when you pull in, they'll just put a new battery in your car. So you'll come up, they'll pull the battery out, put a brand new charged one in, and then you can drive off. And that's what they're going to do all day. So it's a good question, man. That's what's so exciting about it all, man. It's endless, right? And there's leaked information coming out that Tesla's going to release an all electric, air taxi. So now airplanes are picking it up, which is super confusing, because batteries are super heavy and they're inefficient in cold temperatures. So the higher you go up in the air, the less efficient it is, the less charge you're going to hold, and it's super heavy. So I don't know. Technology is just insanity, man.
So do you think, like you're talking now, you went to A&M, do you think, did you study any of the battery stuff that you're using today? Or did you have to learn that on your own?
Actually, as part of the engineering degree, we did take courses that taught us a bunch of different battery stuff, and I don't remember one thing. College was fun. I did well, but I definitely was not focused enough to retain information. But now I kind of just learn it all. If I could give advice to someone younger, or when I have kids eventually, man, I wish I would have came out of high school and worked a couple of years and then went to college. Because when I went to college for us is so different now. College is about to be, it's about to go extinct. Yeah. People are sick of the loan situation, and college is not about learning, and it wasn't when we went. It was about the experience. It was about partying. It was about, meeting people and networking and just growth at that age, So it's just, I learned about it, but don't let anything from college hinder where you think you can go within the corporate world.
Well, people aren't even getting that experience now, since it's like online.
God.
You imagine going to college and like online,
paying all that money to sit in a room by yourself. And I feel sorry for all the like seniors in high school, like their last football game was just canceled. It's just like, oh man, just good old COVID just walked in and ruined a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so you went to college, and then you went to LA for music school. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned out in LA?
Wow, when pertaining to music or just life lessons?
Either one.
I'd say music-wise, that biggest thing I learned, first of all, music school is, you can't teach someone how to make music. There's no right or wrong when it comes to art, right? So you basically teach them different methods. You teach them the rules that most people use, but then your job is to break them and create something different than everybody, right? But what I learned from going to music school was really the environment you're in really does adapt you, right? So being around all the like-minded people trying to do the same thing I was doing was a blast, and it was irreplaceable. And now when I look back at it, It was a lot of fun. When it comes to life lessons with LA, though, I don't know. LA just taught me how to accept everyone for who they are. You know, LA is a city of misfits. A lot of people that don't feel accepted with where they're from move to Los Angeles, and I don't know. I kind of learned just how people tick. You know, I mean, it's a weird city. It's a lot of people would say it's a very toxic city. But you start to learn.
When you're talking about acceptance, it's like I hear the complete opposite on the news when it's a Democrat-run city, and then it's like if you have different ideas or beliefs, then they don't accept you at all. And so it's like I know that you don't buy into a lot of that ideology or anything like that. So elaborate on the acceptance that you learned.
Yeah, so to be pretty blunt with what you just said, I am a huge Trump fan, and I am a diehard Republican, and I lived in the capital of a very democratic liberal city, so I was way different than everybody. I don't know, you know, it's just I don't know. It's given me so much more peace in my life with dealing with being different than everybody else there as well, because I didn't let it affect the way that I thought. But when people would kind of get upset or come after me about stuff, I never took it personal because I realized it was a battle they were fighting with themselves, you know? So now I've kind of accepted that everywhere, you know? It's like I'll admit it, in college I was kind of a hothead, you know? I like to get in fights and stuff, and I played contact sports all of high school and through college, and you know, if someone says something to me, I get in their face. But now, and you know, if anything goes on, I'm just kind of just sitting there, just like staring, like, oh.
Yeah. So it's more about acceptance on your end rather than them accepting you, or like, because you're pretty vocal about what you believe in, and like you don't shy away from conflict. And so I could see like if you say something about Trump in LA, that they're not going to agree with you. And so instead of you just disagreeing with them and telling them they're wrong, you're saying like you're accepting their point of view or trying to see their point of view more.
See, and think how hypocritical that really is, right? A bunch of people move across the nation to be accepted in LA, and then when they meet someone that doesn't think and believe exactly what they do, they can't accept them. So the misfits that move to be accepted can't accept someone that's not like them. It's like they went to do something and became what they hated, right? Yeah, I ran into that all the time, you know? But I will admit, though, that not many people, when you look at the numbers, not that many people really let it affect anything, you know? It's just, you should be able to talk shit, you should be able to mess with, you should be able to have completely different beliefs and have a huge debate or argument if you want, and then just let it go at the end of the day and just enjoy your time, you know? So, I don't know. I think I'm just so don't care that, I don't know, when people got upset, I guess I'm not one to kind of be like, I'm sorry, you know? It's like, oh, that sucks, dude. You can't handle it, but that's another thing I should probably work on.
But I think it is like a problem for like even conservatives or Trump supporters, because it's like they call it the silent majority or silent minority, whatever it may be right now.
We don't know.
But they're silent because, you know, there's so much violence, like trying to, you know, rip Trump down, or like, you know, you see it on the news, like the violence towards one side and the other. But I think, it's more glorified on the news. I don't think that's how normal people are. There's like, you just see the fringe and see the news stories when it's like probably 80% of the people don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'll say it right now. You know, I think Trump's going to win by a landslide again. I think there is a silent majority, but I think a lot of people are. I mean, there's a lot of people that are raised in families that are against that, right? So it's like they rather just keep the peace, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, as we said, I'm the opposite. I could really learn some lessons from people that keep their mouth shut and don't say anything. But I've toned down a little bit in the past couple of weeks due to.
So you feel like living in LA, did you gain any more like liberal ideas or tendencies? Did you see, I mean, and I guess what were the biggest shifts that you had for yourself? You said acceptance, you know, but what kind of any like ideas or politics or like stances? You know, it could be anything like gun control or.
Yeah, I mean, there is one thing that is pretty big. There's a big mental health issue. I mean, it's in the nation, right? I don't believe in socialized medicine. Statistically, I just don't believe it works. If you even look at like Canada and stuff, most people, even if they have the government running the healthcare system, they still pay for private because it's ran like shit. But yeah, I guess before I moved out to LA, when I used to see homeless people within Austin and stuff, you know, like I didn't really have any empathy for them. But in LA, they have a lot of issues with holding them within like a hospital and helping them. And it's like there's a bunch of people living down there homeless that have mental health issues and they need medicine, right? So it's like I looked at all that so differently after being down there because, you know, I had certain run-ins with friends that had, you know, mental illness too. And it's like those people out there, you know, some of them, they really need help. So I think my mind opened up a lot with that. Gun control, it absolutely did not change whatsoever. Yeah, being in California or in LA and there's our neighborhood at one point, people were getting broken into and stuff went down. And I was, you know, walking around with a steak knife in my house. Like, yeah, I hope no one has a gun. No, I think you should always have the right to bear arms. But yeah, I don't think political wise, I think I'm very strong minded when it comes to that though. I'm raised from a family like that too, you know, but, yeah, I don't think my political stance has changed much, but I've always had, I mean, at heart, I'm kind of an anarchist. I mean, to be honest with you, I think what's going on is complete bullshit. I think that there needs to be term limits on everybody, including in Congress. There shouldn't be anybody that's in the same position for fucking 40 to 50 years. I think this whole Pelosi situation, et cetera, is garbage. You know, it's just insane. There's no term limits, but I've always been more democratic thought process when it came to environmental issues. I definitely work within trying to save the world and make it a better place when it comes to that. And education as well.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, I mean, the healthcare system is a complete mess. But besides that, you know, it's like, I mean, one of my favorite presidents is Reagan. So he's someone, he was a Democrat and then he converted to being a Republican and then he was president, but he did a lot for the environment as a Republican president and he did a lot for the education system as a Republican president. And I support that.
I would say you're very liberal, like socially too. Like you don't really care what somebody's sexual preference or race or gender or anything. It's like you're very accepting of everyone and
100%.
like you don't care. It's like it's very liberal. It's like I'll do my thing, you do your thing, and you know if you're cool, then we'll get along. And if you're not, then
yeah, I never thought about that, man. I mean, I'm weird, you know. Sure, when I was in Texas, I don't know how many fistfights I got in that A&M because people were, you know, well, you got your ears pierced. I'm like, fuck you, I'll do whatever I want. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, in Hollywood, I lived with my first year and a half in Hollywood. I lived with 3 gay guys. Those are some of the best times of my life living in that house, you know. So yeah, I could care less, man. I'm happy with whatever, you know. People should be able to be whoever they want. And I love people. I love when I see someone, you know, purple hair walking around, stuff like that. Like, don't be like everybody else, you know, be unique. But that's a good point. I never thought of that as like a liberal, I don't want to say party style, but like a social life. You're right. Yeah. I don't have an issue with any of that.
So while we're talking about LA, though, you were on the Proposal too.
God.
The reality show where you didn't see the girl, and it was basically like a talent competition, I guess, or interview show. Give us a little backstory, or what did you learn there, or what? What can you tell us from your experience at the show?
I don't think anyone from the show is going to hear this, so I might as well just say what I feel like saying, huh? Basically, I got contacted. They found through my social media, they found my page, some people that work for ABC, and they just said, hey, have you ever thought about being on TV? And, well, the person that contacted me happened to be like a smoking hot girl. So when she messaged me, I was just like, what the heck is this? So I thought she was like hitting on me, and I was like, that is the worst pickup line I've ever heard. And I was like messing with her back and forth. She was like, no, I'm serious. Like, will you turn on your webcam, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, LA's got a lot of webcam people. I was like, I don't know about this. She was like, I'm serious. Like, let me talk to you. So they questioned me on webcam. The screen popped up. It was this guy named, I won't even say his name in case someone listens to this, but he asked me like 6 or 7 questions, and man, I thought it was a joke. I was just having fun and laughing. And then I'm out eating Korean barbecue with my roommates 2-3 months later, and they call and they say, hey, can you drive up to Burbank? You know, we're going to shoot this show, and we want you to be on it. So I show up to Burbank. I'm like last minute. I go and get my stuff from my house, and I go up to Burbank, and they literally just said, hey, this is the way it's going to go. And when I met the guys that were on the show, they gave us all dressing rooms. I asked the guys, they said, are you nervous? I said, yeah, I guess kind of. There's a full studio audience. Look at that, Siri's. I didn't even say Siri. Sorry.
Oh, Hollywood's listening.
Yeah, what is that? Creepy robot. I went up there and I found out that basically they had 3 days of dress rehearsal, and I was not invited to the first 2 days on purpose. So they wanted genuineness to the show. So when I showed up, some people had all their stuff kind of memorized. Some people got to walk around on stage. I was the one they wanted to be the idiot, I guess. So I got up on the show and went through the rounds, and basically it was a girl behind a wall, and there's 10 guys, and she asks questions, and you kind of answer, and then you go from there. I ended up making it to the final 3. And then when it went down to the final 3, we were backstage, and they said, you had to, first of all, you didn't even say it, you have to propose at the end of this show.
Yeah, you're marrying a girl you don't even know. Yeah,
you have to get engaged, all right? You have to get engaged at the end of this show. So, yeah, I go out there, and it's the final 3, and I was like, no, I can't get engaged on national television. I just feel like it's disrespectful to my family, like it's disrespectful to hers.
Yeah, you told the producer that?
Yeah, and the producer's like, well, then why'd you sign up for this? I'm like, I don't know, I can't do it. But the thing is, honestly, I probably would have done it but when we got down to the final 3, the crowd was chanting my name. Bryan. Yeah. So I was like the front runner. And the thing is, when I realized they wanted me to be the one messing up, walking on stage, not knowing where I was, which, by the way, it was very obvious when you watch the show that I had no idea what was going on. I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. The final 3, top 3 was good. I had a good time. I'm out. But it was a good experience, man. At least I did it, you know?
No, yeah, that was a great experience. I remember having the watch party at your house and like following the Twitter feed.
Everyone talking shit about me. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Man.
Yeah, man. That was my favorite part of the entire show, was watching people say how I, you know, had sex with blow-up dolls on the Twitter feed, man. That was the best part of the entire watch party, man. What a blast that was. Man, maybe I should apply to be on something for TV. That was easy.
Yeah. So is that something you want to keep doing? Do you want to do like more TV or content?
Yeah, man, I really, well, you see on Instagram, I post a lot of stuff. I post a lot of content. It's not that I intentionally try to post controversial stuff. I just post what I want to post. And I don't worry about offending people. And I'm genuinely myself in all that. I guess that's where we're getting at with this whole conversation, right? It doesn't matter where I'm at in the world. I'm who I am, and I'm always like that, and I'm proud to be who I am. And I guess that's just who I am. But it's like, I would love to start either a podcast or a YouTube channel. I would definitely, I think I will start a YouTube channel eventually on either nutrition, because I'm real big on nutrition. I've studied it for like 15 years, or music. Been doing music for over 10, or I'm on the 11th year now. No, still 10, so it'll be 11 after this year. Or what's the last thing? Stocks. And so stocks is fun. So I don't know. I'd have to pick one subject, but yeah, I could definitely see myself doing something more like TV or entertainment related, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that was one of the, when I started this, I was like, man, I need to pick a niche. I need to just do one thing. And then I started this and I was like, why would I limit myself to just one thing when I'm like interested in all these things? And so it's like, I could get on like psychologists, like interviewed like a sex therapist, I interviewed like an astrology person, and it's like, I think what makes it interesting is like being interested in so many different things. Because like I kind of look at Joe Rogan as like, he just sits there and talks to people. He like doesn't care. Like he's not trying to put a niche for himself, but so that, I think I'm more of like a generalist than I am like an expert or something. And so I think it's like the more you can do, you can just do it all.
Yeah, I agree, man. And the thing with Joe Rogan is he's just really, he's a really smart guy, but he's really good at asking questions.
Yeah.
He asks really, really good questions. And you're right, don't limit. And the thing is, I've listened to a majority of your podcasts, and I'm obviously biased because I'm your friend, but you've gotten so much better at it, right? And the thing is, I don't think people put enough value to repetition, you know? And the thing is, as a music producer, you fall into the same thing. You want to take a song, you want to make it better and better and keep changing it and improving it and improving it. And in that same amount of time, you could have wrote 30 shitty songs, and the 31st would have been better than you trying to fix that one song. That repetition plays such a big role in everything you do, you know?
Yeah. Now we're getting into like the creative process, which is like, if you want to get better at something, you got to keep doing it. And so it's like, I didn't have any experience. I started not, it's like, I didn't know what I was doing. And so it was just like, hopefully it grows into something, but it's like no expectations, just try to do something that I'm passionate about or that interests me. And so I think when I follow you on Instagram, it's like you're interested in like a topic, or you see something and then you post your reaction or your opinion to it. And so it's good to get like your perspective. You're not trying to be like objective. It's like everyone already knows you're a conservative Trump supporter. And so it's like, how do you see what's going on, whether it's, you know, like there's so many things, political things or like sports. So it's like you're giving your take, and like in a, you know, it's like a personal brand almost, like a personality.
Absolutely. And the thing is, what are your expectations with the podcast, you know? And wait, am I allowed to ask you questions too? You know, like, I think that's like a big thing within like the creative process, is when you don't have expectations anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you hear about all these musicians and people that make it big and stuff, not many of them that you hear about were like, I'm going to try and make all this money and tour the world. They're just like, no, I just like to make music. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, when you can figure that out at the end of the day, like, you're just doing what you love to do, and what comes from it, takes so much pressure off of you, and you make better stuff, and it's just a better way to live, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, one of my expectations is to just like, it's almost like a networking tool or like a platform. So it's like, I've talked to people, here's a book, Taylor Wells, I had her on the show. She talks about law of attraction. And so it's like, I talk to just interesting people and I learn from them. And I would never ever have the chance to talk to these people without a podcast.
Heck yeah, man. Life's about connections too,
so
you
it's
know?
like networking, learning for myself, and it's kind of selfish. It's just it's like creating something for myself that I can get better at, like conversations, like communication with people.
But you're also helping them too, you know? I mean, you're kind of helping them get out there as well, right?
Yeah, and I'm helping them. I'm creating a platform for them. So the better I do, the more people that they're going to reach. And also it's like, I'm bringing my friends along with me on like my journey. And so it's like, if I don't see you every day, maybe you can listen to the podcast and hear me talk to these people because you know me already. And so it's like, what am I doing? It's like, so
who knows what can come from it too, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying to this. I don't know if I was saying to what last week. I was saying, man, life's about to get super exciting because we're basically, we work in the corporate world, but we're all entrepreneurs. On the side, we're getting our hands dirty and we're all doing a bunch of stuff, and who knows what's going to take off, but we just got to cover different things. You know, I'll get the log cabin in the mountains. You get the beach house. You know, Kyle will get the lake house. Like, dude, big things are coming, you know, just got to stay on it. And like you said, you just got to actually do it, you know, and that's the coolest thing I think about your podcast is I didn't even know you had a podcast. You're just like, yeah, I'm just interviewing people. I'm like, okay, that came out of nowhere, but you know, why not? You know, it's fun.
Yeah, man, it's always something I wanted to do. And then it's just picking up speed, really. I think it's only getting bigger. And so I encourage anyone out there, if you're thinking about doing something, to just start doing it. There's a lot of stuff that held me back was trying to like perfect things. It's like I can't put it out. Somebody will judge me. I'll make a mistake, and then it's like then it'll be over. And then it's like, no, if I make a mistake, I'll keep going, and then the next one will be better.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is perfection is paralysis, and it's so true, man. The problem is I'm a perfectionist, you know.
Yeah.
I want everything to be perfect all the time, and it's you get into that mindset, and it's either everything's perfect and life is great, or one thing's wrong and life is terrible, and it's the worst thing you can fall into. There's no middle ground, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, perfectionism is not always a good thing. It does drive you though.
Yeah. So let's hit on the topics that you just brought up that you're thinking about, either vlogging or making YouTube videos on, like health. Like, what do you think when you're thinking about health and your diet and exercise? What are some common things, maybe that are misconceptions, or maybe that are just basic, everyone should know? Like,
there's so many. The nutrition industry has gotten to the point where, I mean, nutrition supplement industry, it's just a big, you know, cash cow. And now we've gone from driving all these different rules and studies to where now the people out there are making a fortune debunking all this stuff that we've beaten into all these people's minds. So first thing I'd say for sure is sugar does not make people fat. Candy does not make people fat. Eating too many calories makes people fat, right? So it all comes down to thermodynamics. You know, you got to burn more calories than you're taking in if you want to lose weight, and you got to eat more calories than you're burning if you want to gain weight. And a lot of people try to attribute way too much complication to something that is super, super simple.
so you're saying that's gaining or losing weight so the calorie deficit or surplus. But is like, I mean, candy won't make you fat, but if you just eat candy like for every meal,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's that simple. Like,
yeah,
your body, you know, does need nutrients, and not all foods are created equal. But no, it really.
like, what do you think of the like keto?
I am not a big fan because carbs are super important. They do a lot for your brain. They do a lot for a lot of different things. But the thing is, the reason keto works is because I bet you 90% of the people out there are eating too many carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is they're like, oh, keto works. I'm not eating all these carbs. It's like, yeah, well, now you have a natural, normal balance. That's why. But the thing is, the biggest issue with keto is carbs hold water. So what people do is they cut carbs. Therefore, when they cut down the carbs, their body doesn't hold that water. And then they get on a scale and they think they lost a bunch of weight, and they just lost temporary water weight that's going to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all, when it comes down to like macros and everything, it's pretty simple. Your protein stays in the same place. Your fats stay in the same place. And then basically you just add carbs to gain weight, or you lower the carbs to lose weight. But you want to do a small and slow taper, because every single peak in life is followed by a big valley. You do a crash diet and you get in really good shape really fast. Your body's not going to stay in homeostasis, and you're going to bounce back and gain more weight. You have to, your body is the smartest thing there is. You just got to slowly adapt it. And I mean, it's simple for protein. It's usually a gram. You could do a gram per, there's so many different studies. I've seen 0.63 for, you know, pound of body weight, or you can go up to, you know, 2 grams per, you know, pound of body weight.
You're
but
trying to bulk up.
Yeah, but mostly you could do more protein when you're cutting weight, actually, to try and retain more muscle mass. But the thing is, I just do a gram per pound of body weight, and then keep your fats in the 20 to 30% range of your daily calories, because you want your hormones to stay in check. And then the rest is just carbs.
Yeah.
And just taper down, you know, 500 less carbs a day. That's 3,500 a week. That's a pound a week. Losing 1 or 2 pounds a week is slow and natural, and your body will adapt.
Sustainable.
You'll sustain it the rest of your life. That's the thing that's crazy, is like your body adapts to what you're doing with it, right? So say, that's what's crazy. Like, say I ate 10 bags of candy a day.
Yeah.
My body would literally start to adapt to where those 10 bags of candy a day would not make me gain as much fat, because my body is used to that.
It knows how to process
it.
it.
So it's like when you see somebody that's in really good shape and they're like eating like a certain amount, and you're like, what? I can't believe they have the metabolism for that. It's like, kind of. Their body has actually been primed for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's I don't know.
Do you take any supplements, or recommend any like supplements that are good for like everyone? So I know you can't like recommend like a stack, because it's pretty specific to like people if they have deficits and like vitamin D or something. But do you recommend, I know like creatine's like a universal supplement if you're lifting weights or working out?
Creatine is the greatest supplement of all time. Has the most research. Creatine monohydrate. You can get all these different esters and all these complicated ones. The scientific backing is creatine monohydrate, 5 grams a day. After you run it for 30 days straight, you can go down to 3 grams a day. It is the greatest supplement of all time. I've been saying this. I've been taking it for like over 10 years. There's people that have taken like 5 to 10 times the dosage for like 10 years and not had any repercussions, negative repercussions. But now there's finally these studies coming out for all the stuff it does for your brain. So they're saying male or female, even at the age of 70 plus, you should be taking creatine.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I cycle on and off of it. I don't know. I kind of do that with everything in life, right? I'm such a binger that I go on and off. But man, creatine is amazing. It basically makes the mitochondria in your cell make more ATP, adrenal triphosphate, which is what energy is. So when those triphosphate bonds break, it goes to a bi, and then basically that's how you run out of energy. So you take creatine, you can get more weight, more reps with less muscle burn and more endurance. And then the lactic acid that makes you sore in your muscles is replaced with water so you can recover faster.
Yeah.
So I don't see any, and when people tell you it bloats you, the water retention it holds is underneath your like muscle mass, so it's not going to make you look fat, right? So
yeah. So I've heard about people like taking it in the winter and then cutting it in the summer to lose all that extra water weight.
I would just, I honest, a lot of people even think you should take creatine while you cut because it will help you retain muscle mass and recover. Because when you're on a calorie deficit, I mean, you're low key starving yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're eating less, so it's like you're not really starving yourself till you get down to a really low body fat percentage, but you're stressing your body out. So taking it even while you cut is pretty beneficial. The only thing is I've studied so much stuff. I've only heard one negative repercussion from creatine, and it freaked me out, but I don't know if I fully believe it.
What is it?
DHT. So testosterone in your body is converted to DHT. DHT is what makes men go bald, or women, I guess, too, right? So if you have, if you see someone on steroids, right, they have a high amount of testosterone. If they're not doing it right, that's all being converted to DHT, and that DHT is making them bald. So you see a lot of people on steroids shave their head because
they're going bald.
So if you're taking creatine, it's keeping your testosterone level higher, then you might, if you're prone to it, go bald earlier. Yeah. But I don't think it's making a big difference. There'd have to be a lot of different studies for that.
Yeah, it might be worth it.
Yeah, but besides creatine, vitamin D is definitely a vitamin to me, but I mean, I think D3 is the most important thing. I think the sun is the most important thing out there. I think it's pretty normal. I think it's pretty natural. Yeah. I think when you look at college kids, even though they're younger, they drink and eat shit all day, every day, but they're outside by the pool and they look great. Yeah. You feel great from the sun. It only takes 10 to 15 minutes a day to get your your vitamin D naturally, your levels naturally full. 10 to 15 minutes a day can do wonders for you out there. And then besides that, when it comes to workout supplements, of course, caffeine is the king. I love coffee.
Pre-workout?
I love. I do coffee now. I did pre-workout long ago. Those things have too many chemicals in it for me, man. I don't know what is going on. Sometimes I'll do it once in a while. I'll drink a Bang once in a while. Oh god, not good. Yeah, not natural. But man, I'm telling you, if you drink a cup of coffee or 2 cups if you need it, and you take creatine, and then you go to the gym, once you start moving, it's like your own pre-workout. All those pre-workouts are just caffeine. That's it. Yeah. But the only other supplement besides that is beta-alanine. Beta-alanine has a lot of scientific backing. So creatine, beta-alanine, caffeine, that's all you need. And of course, protein. But when it comes to vitamins, that's a whole I started a vitamin company basically where I had a product that was for the endocrine system. So I'm real big on taking a bunch of different vitamins, but that's for a different day.
Yeah, so let's talk about the day trading. I know you just got started probably within the last year or two. I guess deeper dive into it. I know you've always been interested in like companies and business, but the trading, like what got you started on that? Did you have were you watching somebody like a mentor or like YouTube videos? Or
I've always been pretty big on investing. I mean, that's how the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, right? So if your money's sitting in a bank account, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You're maybe getting 1% to 2% tops, which is very unlikely. You got to invest. When I came out of college, I actually invested a ton of money in the oil and gas industry, and then it tanked. And it sat in there for a long time, 6-7 years, and I lost a lot of it. So I kind of just stuck with my 401k, and I took all that other cash flow and spent it on other investments. But when COVID hit, actually, I was just, I read a ton. I read about the news. I read about stocks. I read about investing. And I was sitting at work, and they were like, yeah, the stock market hit the breakers. And I was like, breakers? The stock market has breakers built in? So they built these breakers in, I forget which crisis it happened or what year.
Oh, where they shut the market down for a
if
day?
if it drops a certain amount, they shut it down for the day because humans, every reaction is an overreaction.
Mm-hmm.
So we panic. So they basically are like, everyone take a breather and chill out. You know, they're trying to save us from ourselves. But it hit the breaker, and then the next day hit the breaker, and then hit the breaker, and then I was like, I had a lot of money just sitting in a bank account, and I was like, I'm buying everything. So then that's when I just got addicted to it. I'd already read like 2 or 3 stock trading books back in the past, and I was doing long-term stuff, but now I do day trading and swing trading, and I chart and do a lot of analysis and stuff. But man, it is so fun. It is so exciting. It is so confusing. It is
I don't understand the day trading. I read more stuff like long-term investing, more like Warren Buffett stuff, or like Charlie Munger or Ray Dalio. So I followed them a bit.
Ray Dalio.
But what are you looking for when you, like, before you make a decision to put money into a company? Like, what are some of the things you're looking at?
So, I mean, there's fundamental analysis and there's technical analysis. Technical analysis is based off the charts, which you're basically saying you think everything's priced into the chart.
Yeah.
What it's running basically off the charts.
Yeah, the market's correct. Everything's
correct,
in,
and it's I think it's supposed to be 2 years ahead, right?
Uh,
So then there's fundamental analysis where you're looking at the price to earnings ratios, you're looking at the earnings per share, etc. I don't believe in value investing that much anymore. I believe that when Buffett was doing it, it was a big deal. I believe more in growth companies now and industry disruptors. I think value investing, I don't want to say I think it's dead, but I think it's a completely different ball game now. So when you look at like a company that's killing, if you look at Tesla, their fundamentals are some of the worst there is out there.
Yeah, right? It's like you don't even know what you're investing in because the numbers are just like,
it's a growth stock.
Yeah.
A lot of people believe, so when you look at like a long-term value dividend stock, like a Buffett style, they're basically, you're investing in the company and they're paying you a dividend, you know, a certain amount of times a year. And that's what you're getting a kickback for being an investor. Well, when you look at a growth company, they're saying, no, we're not going to pay dividends because we can take that money and take the stock price higher and grow faster. So a lot of people, it's a balance of, do you think it hinders a company from further growth or not? So I'm more of a growth guy. I'm real big in tech. You know, I also do a lot of FDA approvals for drug because I'm really big into nutrition and stuff like that. But yeah, there's different tactics for all of them. But I mean, Tesla, before this last drop that happened last week, I mean, their PDE ratio is like 950 something.
Oh my gosh.
It's like 950 times what it should be valued at, right?
Right.
It's just insanity. But the thing is, it's a growth company, you know, and they just became profitable. And, you know, it depends what you want to do. And it all comes down to what you want to do with it as well, right? So for a while, I was trying to hit it big. I mean, we're young. We can recover. If we don't, we can just marry someone that's rich, right? And so I was trying to hit out the park, but then I kind of just stopped and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, this money was sitting in a bank account. I was getting less than 1% interest a year. What if I just put a certain amount of money into a stock each day? I put $500 into a stock. I let it go up, 10%. I pulled out, I made $50 a day.
Right.
Some stocks go up to 20, 30%. Some go up 3, 4%. But if I make $50 a day and I pulled it out, at the end of the year, I'm pulling $12,500.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
that adds up. $50 a day. And it doesn't take much to make $50 a day, especially if you got, 10 different stocks going at once. $50 a day, and I'm making $12,500 more a year. I'm not calculating the short-term taxes, trading stuff, but in a bank account, I would have made basically nothing. And that's $50 a day, right? It's just insane. Why wouldn't you?
I saw the Barstool Dave Portnoy, who's got into day trading, and he's like, I don't know why people have jobs. You just put money in the stock market and it goes up.
Stocks always go up, bro. I mean, that's what the long term's all about, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's gone up for forever, right?
yeah. So, but do you also put your morals in, like, where you're putting your money? Because it seems like you're in the electric vehicle space and you think the future is electric vehicles, so you put money in Tesla. Like, would you put money in like something you didn't believe in but you thought it'd go up? I don't know, like cigarette company, or I know it's like people have different styles. Is that even in your thought process?
Yeah, I mean, on the first question, yeah, almost all my stuff has to do with electrification of vehicles. That's what I know, right? I know more about that than a lot of the people trading them, right? And that's another, I mean, why do you think I mean, you haven't either, but why haven't I pulled any of my Tesla money out? No, I think Tesla's going to take over the world, right? So I think they're more of a data company than a car company, but I think people will realize that shortly. But I wouldn't do anything against my morals, but yes, I definitely will. I mean, these FDA approvals, like for FDA approval drugs,
Yeah.
The thing is, it's buy the hype, sell the news. So when they say, hey, this drug's going to be passed on October 10th, I'm going to buy that stock, let the hype build it up in price, and I'm selling it before the FDA approval. I'm not going to wait, because if it gets approved, it's going to shoot up. If it doesn't, it's going to go straight down.
Yeah.
Why even play it? Play it separate.
Yeah.
So I'll go until we get close to the date. I'll make my profit. I'll pull out.
Yeah,
And then, I'll take my profit. But if it goes up, then right when I see it, because I chart real time. When I see it go up, I'll buy back in. I'll play them separate. But yeah, I do. Especially if you're doing short-term trades, there's a wash rule too. If you sell something and then buy back in within 30 days to taxes, it's like there's so many stocks out there. I'll buy it temporarily and get out. That's what I do. 90% of day traders aren't profitable, so don't take any advice from anyone.
But what's your take on Bitcoin?
Man, I'm pretty heavily invested in Square, and I didn't believe in Bitcoin. I never have, but I think it will be around for a long while. And I think Square's last financials really showed how much Bitcoin is being incorporated, and I think that we will see it continue to go up. It did drop drastically recently, but I don't know, man. It's still hard for me to invest in. I'm not in crypto right now. I do want to get into Bitcoin a little bit, and then Chainlink I've been checking out, but
yeah, I've seen bull cases like up to 35,000 for the end of the year.
What if it just disappear? Can it just disappear? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you're one security hack away from just like
I don't know, man. Something's just weird about it, but I think once I start seeing you be able to use it to buy more stuff, I think
that's what's holding it back. There's no transactions, or it's not stable enough. It's just like you want to buy a car, it could be like 5 Bitcoins today or 10 tomorrow. It's like the price is always fluctuating, or like I don't know. It's too unstable, I think.
Absolutely. So, do you have a Roth IRA? A Roth?
Yeah, I got a Roth. Man. I had a friend graduated from college, and he worked for like an mutual insurance company or something. And so he signed me up for a Roth like as soon as I got out of college. So I've just been contributing into it steadily.
How much you putting in there?
No, it's like a small one. It's like $50 a month or something.
Well, the max you can put, if you're under 50, you can only put $6,000 in there.
Right,
a year, and if you're over 50, you can put $7,000. But that's $500 a month, which is $16 a day.
Yeah.
So check this out. I wrote this down earlier today. I do this nonstop all day. So if you had a Roth IRA at 30 years old, and you put $6,000 a year, $500 a month, $16 a day, same thing. At a 12% annual return, and the S&P 500 average is 12%. So that's definitely doable. It's actually on the lower side probably. And you left it till you're 67, your retirement age, and there was a 25% marginal tax rate, and then inflation's 3% rate, right? By 67, you'd have $3,261,592. And the reason you're only allowed to put $6,000 a year is because that's a regular taxable savings of $1.5 million just for going through the Roth IRA,
Yeah.
So the thing is, 12% annual return is definitely doable. If you look at like ARK Invest and some of the top ETFs, like this year, they hit, I think ARK Invest hit like 40% on some of them.
Yeah.
If you change that 12% per year, by 67, you'd have over $25 million.
Right, but that's like an index fund too, where a lot of people are putting their money in like mutual funds.
Absolutely.
And they have like management fees on
massive fees.
So you're going from like 3 million all the way down to like 1 million just because of like all these fees. These companies are just like, they're just stealing money from people because a lot of people aren't educated.
That's why
they didn't teach us any of this stuff in school. Like they didn't teach us how to invest. They didn't teach us like even what the stock market is really.
Yeah, we should have been putting $100 a year at least as little kids, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when I have a kid, you know, I'm going to pump money into that thing before they're even born. It's just crazy how you can become a millionaire so fast. I mean, I don't know if that's anyone's goals or not, right? But it's so doable if you just don't live above your means. I mean, 70% of the nation lives paycheck to paycheck. That's insane. Insane, man. Like, I mean, I waste a lot of money too, but I don't live paycheck to paycheck. But I go to Starbucks, you know, 5-6 times a week. That's such a waste of money, you know. It's like, but you can. I mean, one of my favorite quotes by Gary. Do you say it Vaynerchuk?
Vaynerchuk?
Do you say it Vaynerchuk? I don't know. One of his is eat ramen for 2 years so you can eat caviar the rest of your life, and it's so true. You know, if I could go back out of college, I wouldn't have bought a brand new fully loaded car because I got multiple promotions and I went and blew it all in a car, and then I moved to LA, and then I lived in the nicest places all through LA. I don't regret any of that. And then I went to music school. I paid for all that. You know, it's like I work full time the whole time because I'm trying to save at all times. But it's like if I can go back, I should have drove.
Oh yeah,
junker car. I should have thrown all that into, even if I just put in like a Vanguard, you know, it's just all these ETFs. I mean, you could just put it in the index fund,
right? Yeah,
just make tons of money. It's just crazy. It really is, you know. I don't.
Right, and you're buying like a $50,000 car, and on the nice side, and then in 10 years the car is
worthless,
worth $5,000 or something.
Worthless, dude. But you know, I think that so I'm about to move to Amsterdam. Knock on wood. Everything keeps going well. I think by the time I get back, I think it'll all be automated cars and no one will own cars anymore. Because the more that we push this electric vehicle, you know, revolution forward, the more automated driving is going to come to reality. And once cars are automated, you'll get out of your car and it'll go work. You know, so it's like you won't need a car. No one will ever need a car. That's why it's crazy because Tesla is literally, I mean, they're going to take out everybody. What's going to happen to Uber? They are Uber now,
right?
Lyft. Yeah. It's like they're going to take the market share from all that. And every one of their cars has sensors, you know, taking all this data, putting it back in their hub, and then they're going to use AI. They're going to have data for every road on the entire, you know, Earth.
Tesla's so ahead of everyone.
Insanely ahead. You know, it's crazy when you see it. You know, you got people putting price targets on it that are just ridiculous, like 35 grand a share. You know, it's like who knows where it could go.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen, right? Something there could be a quality issue. There could be a battery that explodes. There could be a battery that burns out. You don't know.
Tesla gets all the news. If anything bad happens,
it's dropping fast too. But that's the best part about, you know, the fun part about being an investor. If you can't handle watching all your money go down, you know, over a couple weeks without freaking out, you got no business doing it.
Yeah. Because
it's bound to happen. And the thing is, if you day trade or swing trade too, losing is just as big as a part of winning.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a day trader and you win 52% of the time versus the 48% you lose, you still come out massively profitable. So it's about sticking in there and listen, that's like a life lesson. Take the losses with the wins. You got to accept it, but you got to win more than you lose. And that's not too hard to do if you stick with it, right?
Right.
It's a lot of fun, man.
But I think a lot of people don't have the drive, or they don't have the time to educate themselves on money and like finance. So people, I don't think a lot of people want to do like the research on companies or the practice. And so I think for those, it's like just put your money in like a S&P 500 or something.
Index
Just
fund,
like,
ETF, or
yeah.
this is the thing about stocks that blows my mind. We can all win. And if I went to you and said, hey, man, I just studied 10 hours on this company, let's both put our money in and both make a shitload of money. It's not going to take any money out of my pocket for you to win. Right. So you know what? If you don't want to study stocks, just go look at one of the big investing companies, a big investor, or
what they're doing.
And just do what they do. Just copy them. Who cares? You know, it's like, But yeah, the index funds are definitely the safest, especially like when the market tanked back in March. Mm-hmm. All you had to do was buy the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and just let it go up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's something that's super, to learn the basics doesn't take much at all. Mm-hmm. To learn like day trading and swing trading and technical analysis and simple moving averages and confirmation and all that, the volume numbers and what's going on with big funds and stuff, that's a whole different level. And I think that's more exciting. But if you don't want to do all that, you can easily figure out the ropes without doing much at all.
Yeah, I would agree. So to talk about the next thing, music is a big part of your life. And since COVID, that kind of put all artists and performers just like at home, and they can't get out and do anything. And so you're DJing, you've done weddings and clubs, and you haven't been able to do that at all. So I know you still produce music, but are you furthering that? Are you going more into that, or is that just a hobby right now? How do you allocate your time to music when you're got a full-time job, you're day trading?
Yeah, do a lot of stuff. I'd say for the first 5-6 years of music, it was nonstop. I was obsessed. I'm someone who's all in or I'm all out. So every day, all night, sometimes I crank 8 to 10 hours after work, right? Mm-hmm. I did that forever, and the type of music I made came out, and I was okay with it, but it wasn't. I mean, I'll always want better, right? Which is good and bad in life, but yeah. Then I got busy, and as an entrepreneur, I don't believe in the whole if you have a plan B, then plan A is not good enough, or all that bullshit. I believe you should be doing a lot of different stuff. So my engineering career took off with this opportunity with the electric vehicle charging, and I kind of put music not on the back burner because I make music every week. I just don't do it every day now. Mm-hmm. But I think when it comes to art, that when you're not working on it, you're building more inspiration. Yeah. So it's like the bigger the break. I don't, if you make music, it's like I don't want people to get unmotivated because they don't have the time to do and work on it full time. Because right now, the way that streaming works and the amount of tracks that are coming out per day, the music industry is extremely difficult to make a living in. It's not like it used to be back in the day where people were touring and stuff. I mean, it is hard to make a living off of it. So it's become more of just, I still do it. We made a song in here the other night. So it's like, I still do it at least 3-4 nights a week, but I don't put near as much pressure on myself. And I think the music that came from it has become better because I'm not trying to become famous or do all this. I just have fun and do what I want.
Have you thought about doing Twitch, or live stream sets?
Yeah, I think that would be a whole lot of fun. I just, we were talking about that earlier. I think I do well with a YouTube channel or a Twitch. To be continued. Yeah. I don't know. It's It's hard too, though. You know, I mean, I do a lot of electronic music. I produce pop and country and everything. I produce every genre, but it's hard to get the same experience with EDM style stuff through a stream.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I mean, during this COVID stuff, people threw parties where we watch streams, but it's more about the, you know, the bass is a big deal, obviously, but it's more about the vibe and the people around and people just not, you know, having a good time and being themselves and the music. So I'm not sure, man. Have you ever thought about doing a Twitch?
For like streaming DJ sets, or just like,
Or you can stream any production
Yeah.
would be a lot of fun, actually. You know, because I'm really fast at it now. You know, and it's just yeah, that's a good. You want to make a Twitch or what? That sounds. There's only one way to find out, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'd be fun too, because we know a lot of musicians and DJs too, right? So we could just. I wonder if we could just pop over our username and password and say, hey, you do a live set now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's all just share an account. You know, I mean, that's something that I didn't like in LA is not many people, everyone's out for themselves, you know, and it's like with the team, you know, you can do, you got more brains, you're going faster, you can do a lot more working, you know, as a team versus players. So
that's one of my goals for sure, is to create a label or to create like a brand and, you know, put people on. It's like podcasts, you know, I have a guest. If I'm doing like a label, and it's like bringing up artists, I think would be really rewarding.
Have you interviewed any musicians yet?
Yeah, the first one I did, Wheels.
Oh yeah?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet. I'll have to listen to that. Really?
Yeah, it's the first episode.
Did you ask him about like life and all kinds of stuff too?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I gotta listen to that. That was the first episode?
Mm-hmm.
It's up on
iTunes, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere.
I wonder why I didn't listen to the first one. I've listened to at least 7 or 8 of them at least. Wow, I didn't know you interviewed him. I'll check that out. Shout out to Wills, man. I followed him on Instagram.
Yeah, check it out.
I dig his tunes.
But yeah, man, I think I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for coming on the show. And I know you just had, you know, traumatic, life-changing experience. You're in a car accident, so I just want to thank the Lord, or thank whoever's watching over you and keeping you in our lives, so you can be here and have a conversation and pass down what you know, your experiences in life, and you know, just being a leader and being an entrepreneur and like going out there and pushing the limit and pushing your comfort zone and actually, like, you know, just being a good friend and all around guy. So I want to thank you.
I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for having me. And yeah, man, I'm all I can really say about the car wreck is I'm lucky and I'm super happy to be alive. And before that thing happened, since I'm moving overseas and starting to roll as, you know, a director level, I've been super nervous and I was a ball of stress, and I was literally, everything I had wanted in life was lining up, and I was making the absolute worst of it. I was stressed about moving. I was stressed about friendships, relationships, all that stuff. And then, you know, I could have lost my life very easily. And it's kind of like the rebirth, right? And it's almost taken what I do for a living. It's not almost, it has taken what I do for a living and it's made it personal. Because if automated driving or a newer car had been there with sensors, the wreck would have never happened. And you know, it's like every car that we charge now is going to push forward that. So it's crazy how life works. It can end in an instant. We're all lucky to be here. I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for being my best friend, bro. Thanks for having me on the show. And
yeah, where can people go check you out?
Oh man, so I haven't released music in almost 2 years. You can go to my SoundCloud if you want. It's B-CZECH. It's B-Czech, but you don't spell it Czech like a checkbook. You spell it like Czech, like Czechoslovakian, which is what I am. Besides that, we have a YouTube, SoundCloud. I'm on iTunes, but I will be moving to Amsterdam by the end of the month, and I have about 100 tracks ready to go. I just haven't decided which genre and approach I want to take, and I'll probably also try to push a lot of it into films. So big things coming from that. Besides that, you can find me on Instagram with the same name, BCZECH1. And that's really all the marketing I have for myself. You can get my cell phone at, no, I'm just kidding.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. I had a blast, dude.